We're getting a little bit more details on exactly why 5,000 railway workers represented by the International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers rejected this. They said that the tentative contract agreement does not do enough to recognize the sacrifices that rail workers are making. So they were among the first to reject this. They're still talking, as I say, but the question is whether Washington has to intervene to stop this. Who better to ask than Senator John Barrasso, the Republican Republican Conference Chair, as I say, Wyoming Republican. Very good to have you, Senator. There is talk right now that Washington could intervene here, that there could be a move to stop this, and that Congress could do that. It's a little murky, but how do you feel about that?
Well, I think it's important that we try to avoid this strike. Neil, the impact on the economy is about $2 billion a day, so about $15 billion a week. It will hit supply chains. And, you know, the president ought to be very involved here. The president touts his ability as a deal maker, and he touts his influence, his push that he has with the unions and how they listen to him. As you just reported, it's one of the main unions that's trying to prevent a deal that so many have already agreed to. The president ought to get involved.
All right, now I'm just wondering if we get to that point, though, Senator, where workers leave, and you have 115,000 across the country. This was thought to be at first something only you had to worry about if you were freight or waiting for freight. Now we know it's going to affect passengers as well on so many of these Amtrak lines that service both. I'm wondering what you think the impact is going to be.
Well, the impact's going to be dramatic. We're talking about moving products from farm to the store, to the markets. We're talking about moving energy. All of those things, if we don't get them moving, it's going to increase prices, add to the inflation. We already got terrible inflation numbers yesterday. I think this is going to add to the problems that we're facing now as a nation under this administration. This needs to be resolved. I'd like to see it resolved quickly. But what people are concerned about most at home with me this past weekend in Wyoming are the cost of everything, and specifically food.
You know, Senator, I was thinking of you. Your state is a big energy state. The president is still back up that plan to freeze oil and gas leases, just as his counterpart in Great Britain, the new Prime Minister, Liz Truss, is talking about expanding energy production off the North Sea. So that's something he's not open to doing. What do you think?
Well, I think that this president and this administration and the Democrat Party, their religion is climate. Joe Biden came into office and said he's going to shut down all fossil fuels. He's done it with Keystone. He's now frozen oil and gas leasing. He's even going after leases that have been sold to Explorers for Energy in the previous administration. And it seems that he is trying to take us from energy dominance to energy dependence. Americans know what they want. We want energy that is affordable. Number one is affordable and available and reliable. But the climate extremists, the radicals that are running the Democrat Party, they don't care about any of those things, certainly not affordability. What they want is energy that is renewable. That takes precedent over everything, no matter the cost or the consequences. And as a result, people are going to be paying more for energy to heat their homes, cool their homes, to move their vehicles, and certainly to keep the lights on.
Senator, finally, we talk about this inflation and this backdrop that isn't great. We have a wholesale inflation report, which the prices before they get to us, still stubbornly high. And the only game in town appears to be, sir, the Federal Reserve. The expectation is that next week it could raise interest rates another 3/4 of a point, maybe a full point. What do you think of that? Are you worried they could be overdoing it?
Well, that's always a possibility. You always worry, how do you calm down the inflation? How do you get those prices down? I know what I would do, and it's I'd cut this reckless Washington spending, unleash American energy, and cut Washington regulations. But the headline in Wyoming, to me, tells the story of inflation, and it's that food prices continue to soar. And it's the list of things that people use on a daily basis. It's bread, it's milk, it's eggs, it's meat, it's chicken, fruit, vegetables. And we're seeing prices in the last 1 year, Neil, that have gone up faster than in the last 40 years. These are the things that people worry about, and in 8 weeks they're going to be voting on that, and that's why I'm very optimistic about our opportunities to take back the United States Senate and take the House of Representatives.
Senator Barrasso, thank you very much. We'll watch this closely. We are also watching the ongoing talks. Right now, they're essentially being monitored, hosted, if you will, by the Labor Secretary, Marty Walsh. Again, he is trying to get the two sides together, but they are very, very far apart. And as I told you at the outset here, Amtrak is already moving to shut down some very lengthy passenger routes, even though this is a freight issue. As we warned you yesterday, it was distinctly possible it could spill over to those just trying to get home, albeit a long distance from their home. We'll keep an eye on that, also keeping an eye on how the administration is responding to this.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.